back in the day we used to call it sex education. When I was doing this work more regularly, we were calling it sexuality education, but it's changed again. So what's it changed to and why?
Yeah. So just recently we've changed the guidelines, and in schools now we call it relationships and sexuality education. But I think that's an important term for all educators, including parents, because really sexuality education is about relationships, isn't it? Everything you and I have done is about helping young people and helping children develop the skills to build healthy relationships. And if we think about relationships and sexuality education as the knowledge, the understanding and the skills to navigate a positive sexuality and healthy relationships throughout their lifetime, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you and I have always wanted for young people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what a lot of people think is that sexuality education sits in a vacuum, and it doesn't. It sits within society and people's lives, and so those relationships are absolutely fundamental to that. And we've got to give lots of information over to our kids so that they can make good informed choices, because if they're not making informed choices, they're making ill-informed choices. But I think the other really important thing is that we're teaching our kids skills as well.
Yeah, and just that's such a great point, because a lot of the parents I've interviewed or worked with recently are starting to realise that too, because they're learning sexuality from everywhere. And we've seen that over the years. It's not just parents, it's not just home, it's the mall, it's every single day they're making sense of the world that they live in. And what we want in relationships and sexuality education is to develop those skills to navigate the world. So for example, the digital world is quite different, isn't it, from the times that when we started teaching around relationships and sexuality.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different from a lot of what parents went through. Parents these days, we didn't grow up with social media, so we didn't have to deal with that. So I think that it's really important we're having conversations with our kids, and that they get to ask us lots of questions, because we have lots of skills and lots of knowledge around that area. But actually it's a back and forth discussion as well, because they're growing up in a different era than what we grew up in. And so we can learn from them, they can learn from us, and those discussions can mean that we help them navigate their current world, because it's just so different.
Yeah, and it is interesting because all the young people that we work with keep saying they want to have more conversations with parents, whānau, the adults in their lives, but they keep saying that they're still very judgmental, or they just feel uncomfortable. So I think if we think about it as relationships and sexuality education, but focus fundamentally on the skills to navigate healthy relationships, that's what young people want.